mentioned that you only turned 20, so obviously you have a long way to go. But if by some chance the 12-year-old version of you could realize
There's no
what was
actual
about
limit to the size of the economy. Once you have general-purpose humanoid robots and autonomous vehicles, you can build anything.
I would say that anything is possible, and to dream big. I think me as a person, I'm very ambitious, and although
The internet went crazy over Alex Eala's heartfelt response to Elon Musk's $10 million surprise. Welcome back to your one-stop shop for the most astounding, game-changing, and court-shaking news in the tennis industry. Today's story is straight out of a Hollywood film, so if you think you've seen it all on the baseline, you might want to sit down, have a drink, turn off your alerts, and get ready. We are discussing a young Filipino tennis prodigy who just shown to the world that she is so much more than a tennis player, one of the most powerful men in the world, an incredible $10 million, and a sobbing reaction that virtually split the internet in two. Ladies and gentlemen, fasten your seatbelts. This is more than simply a tennis game changer. For millions of youngsters throughout Southeast Asia, this is a life-altering event. And it's taking place at the moment. Before we go into the headline that has people from Manila to Madrid completely going crazy, let's set the scene. Because you must comprehend Alexandra Eala, what she stands for, and why this moment is so important beyond the baseline in order to really appreciate the scope of what just transpired. Eala Alexandra. The world will be pronouncing that name for a very, very long time, so pronounce it slowly. This remarkable young woman, who was born on May 23, 2005, in Manila, the Philippines, has dedicated the majority of her life to promoting Philippine tennis, and by extension, all of Asian tennis, on a global scale. At the age of 13, she left her native country to train at the renowned Rafa Nadal Academy in Mallorca, Spain, which is halfway across the world. Take a moment to consider that. 13 years old, separated from her culture, her family, her friends, and the cozy confines of her island home. Speaking a second language and toiling away on clay courts in a foreign land while bearing the weight of a whole country's aspirations and hopes on her youthful shoulders. The COST's champions are shaped by the decisions Eala made throughout their early years. Empty training rooms were filled with homesick weeping. She was physically exhausted after arduous 6-hour practice sessions. There were times when she doubted herself and felt as though there was an impossible distance between where she was and where she should be. The problem about Alexandra Eala, though, is this. She never once allowed uncertainty to prevail. And the outcomes have been really astounding. She became the first Filipino player in history to win a junior Grand Slam singles title by the time she was a teenager, having already swept the junior Grand Slam circuit. After that, she started her career, which has been an incredible and unrelenting climb. In the last several months, her career's trajectory has changed from remarkable to just stunning. The Philippines went into a frenzy of excitement after she broke into the WTA Top 100 in WTA 1000 events like the Miami Open. She has advanced far, defeating players who are ranked much higher than her in the global rankings with a ferocity and tactical knowledge that has left analysts and coaches all over the world in awe. Grand Slam champions were defeated by her. She delivered bombs and ripped left-handed forehands that seem more appropriate for a video game than an actual tennis match. She quickly rose to prominence as one of the sport's most talked-about young athletes. However, this is where the story becomes truly captivating. Because just as the tennis community was beginning to settle into the narrative that Alex Eala was just the next great player, a story broke that completely upended everything and sent shockwaves through popular culture, technology, athletics, and philanthropy. On a Tuesday morning, the news broke, and it quickly spread like a digital atom bomb on all of the planet's social media platforms. Musk. Elon. Indeed, Elon Musk, the man who turned Tesla into the most valuable automobile company in the world, sent SpaceX rockets to the moon and Mars, bought Twitter and rebranded it as X, and somehow managed to become one of the most divisive and talked about people in the world today, had formally entered the professional tennis scene. And he had done it in the most spectacular, daring, and incredibly giving manner imaginable. Musk revealed that he was personally inviting Alexandra Eala to be the star and face of a brand new international sporting event called the Southeast Asian Children's Charity Tennis Championship in a post on X, formerly known as Twitter, that received millions of views in less than an hour. You may be thinking, okay, another charity tennis exhibition. Big deal. At this point. But wait, The scope of what Musk is suggesting is unprecedented in the history of the sport. The tournament has a $10 million total prize fund. $10 million is fully written down. $10 million. The shocking turn of events, however, has everyone talking, debating, and sobbing in equal measure. The players will not receive a single dime of that prize money. Not $1. Rather, all proceeds, that is, every single penny of that $10 million, will go straight toward constructing cutting-edge schools, cutting-edge hospitals, and safe haven community centers for impoverished children throughout ASEAN countries. The Philippines, Indonesia, Thailand, Vietnam, Malaysia, Cambodia, Myanmar, Laos, Brunei, and Singapore are the countries we are discussing. The scope of this humanitarian vision is astounding. The world was taken aback by the emotional impact of Musk's typically straightforward statement on X. To give you the gist of what he wrote, we are summarizing it here. Alexandra is a representation of tenacity and unwavering happiness, and I think her participation will raise awareness of our purpose around the world. Go over those words again. A testament to tenacity and unwavering happiness from one of the world's most prominent and influential individuals. The affirmation in that single remark was sufficient to cause an absolute emotional breakdown among Alexandra Eala's fan base, which is found not just in the Philippines but almost everywhere in the world. On social media, the response was swift and enormous. The hashtag #ServeForOurChildren was trending within the first hour of the post's publication. It rose to the #1 trending subject in the Philippines, Indonesia, Thailand, and Malaysia all at once in just 6 hours. It was the #1 trending subject in the world by the end of the first day, and it remained there for an incredible 48 hours. Sports pundits were discussing it. The post was being shared by political figures. Celebrities from many spheres of the entertainment industry were offering their opinions. Professional tennis players, ranging from former Grand Slam luminaries to current WTA stars, were showering their own social media with supportive and admiring words. Above all, everyone was anticipating Alexandra Eala's response. Furthermore, it did not simply live up to the enormous degree of expectation when it arrived. It broke fully and utterly. LA did not respond with a well-crafted news release from a public relations firm. Her management team and a professional, studio-produced video with flawless lighting and a teleprompter were not responsible for it. Instead, while seated in what seemed to be a calm, uncomplicated hotel room, she went live on her own social media platforms. A practice t-shirt was on her. She had her hair pulled back. Without a glamorous crew, a tastefully manicured backdrop, or a show, it was just Alex Eala talking from her innermost, rawest self. Viewers could see right away that something significant was going to happen in that film. Before she had said a word, her eyes were blurry. When she finally spoke, her voice was shaking from a weight of emotion that could not be controlled by any amount of training in calm. The entire world leaned in as she started speaking. She avoided discussing ranks. She didn't discuss the tournament's prestige or its potential impact on her career. She made no mention of Elon Musk's clout or the remarkable distinction of being personally chosen by one of the most influential billionaires in the world. She mentioned the kids. She depicted the children she knew as a child in the Philippines in vivid, sad detail. Kids who travel long distances on muddy roads only to sit in classrooms with leaking roofs, deteriorating walls, and an inadequate supply of textbooks. Families in rural provinces face an enormous, frequently unmanageable financial burden in the event of a medical emergency. Communities where the disparity between opportunity and poverty appears to be so great that it has the capacity to engulf entire generations. She then spoke something that will be recited and remembered for years to come. As a single tear was streaming down her cheek that seemed to be captured by every camera in the world at just the correct time, she said that she did not see $10 million when she read Musk's invitation. She recognized the faces of the kids from her hometown. She encountered every child who had ever wished for a better life but had been born into circumstances that made that hope appear unattainable. Then she gave out a broken voice. She didn't try to remain calm. She persisted with her studied stoicism without wiping her eyes. She spoke her feelings honestly and fully. And in doing so, she established a connection with each and every spectator that went beyond language, culture, and sport, because everyone feels sorrow for injustice and optimism for kids. They are everyone's property. She turned back to the camera after a brief pause, and anyone who has followed her tennis career would immediately recognize the emotion that took the place of the tears. It was the expression she gets when she is having a rough time. She is also fully aware of what must be done. She has risen from the streets of Manila to the arenas of the biggest competitions in the world thanks to her steely, unwavering, iron-willed resolve. She also made her announcement. She declared that she was not merely embracing the invitation with all the fervor, passion, and purpose that characterize her as an athlete and a person. She was devoting every ounce of her existence, every drop of sweat, and every racket stroke to this cause. She addressed the youngsters of Thailand, Indonesia, the Philippines, and every other ASEAN country directly. She then looked directly into their eyes and said, "I will see you on the court." She had assured them, "We are going to build those schools. We are going to build those hospitals. To secure our children's future, not to win a trophy." The internet did more than just buzz as that video ended. It let forth a roar. On live television, sports commentators, who are typically calm, analytical, and measured, were clearly choked up. A prominent Asian sports network's anchor had to take an almost 30-second break from the show to gather himself. Globally, news organizations caught up.